whatever is occurring on their quality of life. But primarily, what inspires them to do that work is not avarice or greed, but rather the desire to make the quality of life for their people better. In fact, the warrior societies were actually most active in times of peace. One of those societies, the Fox Kit Society, was known for being especially clever during times of battle, such that the goal wasn't to kill your enemy, the goal was to get as close as possible to touch them, maybe even take something from them. Show them what you could have done and didn't, because of your spiritual generosity and your bravery to do that. Another society, the Mandana, were composed of older warriors who were well accomplished on the field. But their job, they wore these long sashes, and their job was to watch the battle and go to those places where there was a fallen warrior, stake the end of their sash into the ground so they would not leave, as a symbol to those attacking, that they would protect to the death the fallen warrior. In times of peace, these were the same, who would go to extreme lengths to make sure that those in the village who were in particular hardship or disease were taken care of. Another warrior society during times of peace was explicitly trusted with caring for those who were widowed because they had been killed, they had loved ones killed in battle. And so the whole mission, the whole understanding of warriorship in a spiritual way was the care, the feeding, protection in every possible way of the people. Taking on, in some societies, the most dangerous assignments in battle, but also in times of peace, when the village might be experiencing great hunger or hardship or winter, and going out in those conditions to hunt. Spiritual warriorship, then, is about care. It's about community. It is about being operating from that place of sacred connection to the Creator. So that that place of spiritual generosity, of compassion, of justice for the people, of healing, inform all actions in life. So then I get to this place of what in the world does bread and wine have to do with that? And I thought, back in 1941, as the Army thought about the needs of the paratroopers going into places unknown as they're parachuting down, they wouldn't necessarily have resources immediately available to them to get to that mess hall. They often had to get to the coordinates where friendlies were. And so in that time, 1941, they commissioned a guy named Keyes, Dr. Keyes, to create a little packet of food that could be sustained in hard conditions for these guys to eat. And those became known as K rations. K for Keyes, but of course the paratroopers said K for Commando. So whatever was Commando for Keyes, they were the first ones to kind of be inflicted with K rations. The initial troops who had them first responded, well, in terms of taste tests, they're barely palatable. Another group responded, it's better than nothing. So it wasn't really until the 60s when it was actually, again, because of military operations and a recognized need for being able to create somehow dehydrated foods and beverages to be able to sustain astronauts in space. This weekend we lost Neil Armstrong, the first person to put foot on the moon. And yet he, like the astronaut program, was one of the first guinea pigs to eat and test some of that food preparation. And if you remember, as I do, the tang came out of that program. Just add water and stir, and suddenly you had orange juice, maybe. And then there was also these concentrated foods, and who can forget freeze-dried ice cream? Right? You can still get that if you go to Cape Canaveral or go to the Space Center. So that reminded me then of this bread and this wine. As spiritual warriors on a spiritual journey, in which we are called to be in right relationship at all times with our Creator, so that that relationship informs us primarily to the values of faith and peace and healing and care. That little sip of wine and that little bit of bread, just as it was the image of the journey through the desert for the Hebrews, in our Christian journey, this sip of wine and a little bit of bread sustain us, keep us connected to the one who feeds us in every way, who sustains us for the work we need to do, whether we are somehow find ourselves parachuted into a situation we never could have imagined or wanted to be in, whether it's our lives that we're trying to survive in dark times, or whether it's our companionship that we offer as spiritual protection and assurance to others in their challenged places and their battles. We are sustained in our K rations, K for Christos, in bread and wine. May we be fed forever. And as for the tang, just add boiling water and stir with a spoon.